Welcome, Farah.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing with all of this going on and sheltering in place?
We're good. You and I were briefly chatting before you hit the record button, and it's adjusting to this new normal we've been given, kind of figuring out what life looks like right now, how business moves forward, how to manage a household. I have twin boys that are turning 7 in the next couple of months. Yeah, so they're busy, right? And it's figuring out how do you balance. For us, it's been like, how do you balance being home and still teaching them stuff with homeschooling? How do you balance and my husband is working from home now too, and he's usually Monday to Friday 9 to 5 in the office, so he's home and he's still working. So it's like, how do we manage him working and me working, and I've already been working from home, so it's like now giving my space to everyone as well in the home when I've been so used to having my space. So it's been interesting. It's been difficult at times. It's been easy at times. It's like a roller coaster of emotion and stuff lately.
And I think a lot of people, I mean, I know for me, the roller coaster finally hit me yesterday. But how are you managing having two children home, having a home business, used to them like going to school and still being able to get things done?
Yeah, so it took me a couple days to kind of wrap my head around everything. So for us, where we are, the kids were about to go on March break. So they went on March break, and as they were going into their holiday, we received notice that the schools would be closed for 2 weeks past the March break to give a 3 week window of no one in the schools. And this is supposed to be done. They're supposed to be going back to school on Monday, this upcoming Monday. And I really don't think that's going to happen. And so with that realization, my husband and I kind of were like, we don't know what to do. In the first couple of days, we're just kind of a free for all. And like, whatever you do, what you got to do, I'll pop in my work here and there. But that got out of hand. That got out of hand for everyone because I found the kids' nerves were going up. They were anxious. They were nervous. They were still so full of energy. And they had ways of expressing it and letting it out, but they also didn't. And then I was getting frustrated and angry, and I would turn into like this mommy monster, and there was a lot more yelling going on, and there's just a lot of chaos. It wasn't even controlled chaos. Usually I live my life in an organized state of chaos most of the time because it's just the way I live. I like it's more fun for me. But this was just straight up chaos. So we decided that we needed to create a schedule, and the kids needed to be back into some sort of routine, even though it was at home. So I created, we have a schedule now for every day. So the kids, when they wake up, they've got their time to do whatever they need to do, but they need to be down and sitting in the living room by 9:15 in the morning. I have all the alarms in the house set for 9:15. Once those alarms go off, they need to be dressed, teeth brushed, beds made, and downstairs ready to do their schoolwork for the day, which is it's 20 minutes of reading, 20 minutes of practicing their writing because I don't want them to forget their motor skills. And um and then we do some math and we do some exercise. So the kids get their portion in the day, and then after that they have about an hour of free time before lunch. And in that hour of free time they have before lunch is when I get my work done, is when I go and I answer my emails or I schedule my calls or whatever the case is. And that's their screen time, because that's really, as a parent, I know some parents like limit the screen time. So we've limited the screen time. So it's not an all day free for all, but it's still essential so that I have my time, they have their time. Because I remember, and I've been telling clients this as well. I remember when I was pregnant with the twins and I asked someone, what's the biggest piece of advice you have for me? And she said to me, do whatever it takes to keep you sane, whatever it takes. Because when you're depleted, the rest of the house depletes. When you're in chaos, the rest of the house is in chaos. So you need to do whatever it takes to keep you sane and find a system that works in your household in order to keep things flowing, because you got to fill up your cup before you can fill everyone else's in the house. So that's kind of what we've been doing. We've prioritized getting the kids all the things that they need, and then making sure that we still fit in our time and our work time and our exercise time and all that kind of stuff.
So creating some sort of a boundary so that it's not just give, give, give.
Right. And they know that, that hour of free time that they have on the schedule is the hour that I'm working or that my husband's working or whatever it is. And that's the time that we need. And they understand that and they get it. And it's a conversation. People say, some people tell me that I have too much of an adult conversation with my kids, and them being only 6.5. But I'm like, if I don't start talking to them like the humans they are, and they'll never understand. That's when they keep nagging and annoying and it gets on your nerves and you can't get anything done, is because you're not setting that boundary. Yes, I am your mother. Yes, I'm here for you and to support you and, to take care of you and keep you alive pretty much as a role. But you also need to understand that mommy has to get X, Y, and Z done in order for X, Y, and Z to still happen in the house too. So, it is about creating boundaries with as little as your children to your husbands and whoever else is in your household.
Yeah, I'm working on those. So when you start having these conversations, there's a lot of people that haven't had that conversation, like me, with my husband being home more. How do you approach that conversation with a child?
Yeah, so with a child, it's as simple as sitting them down and saying, listen, we have this new situation that we've been put in and new things that are going to be happening around the house. And we still need to get some stuff done. So we're going to put this into place. And if you need me within these times, by all means, knock on the door, let mom know what you need or let dad know what they need. But just know we're still here for you and still supporting, but we want this to feel as normal can possibly feel, right? And for spouses, the conversation gets awkward, right? Any boundary setting conversation that you have is an awkward conversation, whether it's with your own parents or your children or your spouse or significant other. Setting a boundary protects your own personal energy. It protects the space that you have so that you can create and fulfill the things that you need to do on a daily basis. So even with the kids, having a conversation and helping them understand and letting them know that it's okay for them to have a boundary too. Letting them know that, this time that you have your free time, that's your boundary time. That's the time that you may need away from mom and dad or whoever else is in the house. This is your time to do what you need to do so that you feel good about whatever situation you're in.
So outside that hour that you're doing for your business, what other things are you doing? Because that's business related. What about keeping that self-care, that energize? I mean, work energizes me, but it also depletes me. So what other things are non-negotiables in your day?
Oh, I love that you said non-negotiables. So I have 3 daily non-negotiables. And for some of my clients at this point, I'm telling people to do 1 non-negotiable, depending on where your motivation levels are, right? So for me, my non-negotiables are exercise the body, exercise the mind, and do something that brings me joy every day. So I've implemented the exercise of the body in with the kids as part of our time together. So we do a 30-minute workout together. And then I'll usually, when I make time for myself, I kind of combine all 3 into 1. So if the weather's nice outside, I will go for a socially distant walk away from other people. I'll go outside in my neighborhood and go for a walk, which then I'll listen to a podcast, which is going to feed my brain, or I'll listen to a guided meditation as I'm walking. It feeds my body, it exercises the body, and it's something that brings me joy because I just love being outside and love being in nature. So those are usually my daily 3 non-negotiables. They fit as long as I do them by the time I wake up to the time I put my head down to go to bed. As long as those 3 things are done, I feel accomplished, even if I didn't complete any work that day. Because sometimes it's not the work that needs to be done. Sometimes the work is for you and not on your business. So as long as those 3 non-negotiables are done for the day, I feel really good. But also advice I've been giving people, like I said, is getting 1 task completed. Write down a list of the things you want to do. Even if it's the smallest thing is taking a shower or reorganizing a closet or purging the house or whatever it is, write them down on a list and just do 1 a day and feel accomplished that day. And then maybe the next day you'll do 2 things on that list. And then the next, maybe 3 things on that list. what that does when we accomplish these tasks is it gives us a shot of dopamine because our brain goes, oh my gosh, you've accomplished, you did it. You're even if it's not financial success or gains, it's like, this was a success to me because I checked something off my list, that your brain goes, I need more of this. And then you start doing more. So it's fitting it into those spaces. And as a parent, also having a conversation with the other parent that's in the house, or your kids if you're a single parent, and just explaining, these are the things I need to do today. I'm going to find the time to do them, and making the time. It's about making the time and not sacrificing yourself for the sake of everyone else.
I love that. Make time for yourself.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I mean, that's something I've always struggled with, and I'm not even a mom, but
me too.
So when you're going through your day and you're doing this homeschooling and things like that, how has that shifted the relationship between you and your kids?
It's put me in more of my role has evolved to where I am now caregiver. I have 3 jobs now: caregiver, teacher, and more cook, maid, all of the things, right? So the relationship with the kids hasn't really changed much, but it's more of I hope, but they don't express it as well yet because of their age, but I hope that there's a sense of gratitude and understanding of wow, they're doing so much for us. Even my husband, like, I'm here with you now, and it's his turn, right? So he's taken over. He's going to get lunch ready. He's going to do all that stuff. So it's more of like, our relationship has evolved in the household as like, we're in this together. We have to help each other out. We are now a team. It's less roles as mom, dad, kids. It's more like, guys, I need your help with this. Mom, I need your help with this. Dad, I need your help with this. So we're all kind of cohesively doing these things together and learning it all at the same time.
I love that you said team.
Yeah.
You went from like being the parent, I don't want to say the word dictator, but kind of like
essentially,
that role, to being a team. And that's really special.
It really is. And I think it's important. We as adults and as parents sometimes think that it's our job to teach our kids all of the things, right? Our job to teach them how to be good people and all of the stuff. But if we don't give them the space to contribute, if we don't give them the space to voice how they feel, their opinions, even their own judgments or whatever is going on, it's going to be hard for them to transition into adolescence and into adulthood with those core values and with understanding that they are their own person. They have their own thoughts. They make their own decisions. They create their own boundaries. They do all of that stuff on their own for themselves. And that's what we really like to teach the kids already, because I wasn't taught that, right? So I became dependent on other people's love. I became dependent on other people's answers. I became dependent on seeking out everyone else for the answers that I needed outside of myself. Whereas it's all in here. I always thought that I had to go ask my mom or my dad what the right or wrong thing was to do was, even as an adult, because I just didn't really know fully how to navigate through life. So with the kids and being a team and letting them have their own voice and have their own opinions and do all these things, I know that we're setting them up to be responsible adults as they grow up, and so that they learn to protect their energy and to have boundaries and to know that it's okay to say no. And honestly, they are teaching us way more. I truly believe that every child that is brought into this world, your child came to you for a reason, right? And that reason we may not ever know, but it's always to teach us something, to teach us a lesson, to give us encouragement. For me, my kids have taught me how to live fully and present and to bring joy into my life more often. So we have to allow them to be their own so that we can also support them in that.
So what things are they asking for right now to bring them joy? with, I mean,
Video games. Video games and snacks. They want cookies and chips and snacks, and they want they love going outside and playing basketball, so they've got a basketball net out there. It's been rainy these last couple of days and dark, but they'll get out the rest of the week. What else have they been asking for? They've been time. They want our time. They want to cuddle. They want to sit. They want to hang out. They want to chat. They want to play with us. They want to play board games. Like, they want to do all the things that we don't have the time to do on a regular basis, right? So we're just trying to balance it all out for them.
That's awesome. So do you think without this pause that this connection would have ever come up for a lot of parents?
No, I don't think so. I really don't think so. And I understand that it's hard. Like, it's hard. It's really hard. And it's not sunshine and it's not rainbows, and every day is not like a good day. This morning, they were not happy about sitting down and reading and getting, their schooling in, because it's just they didn't feel like doing it. And I have a hard time personally, and this is where I set my own boundary for myself, because I'm like, this is home. This is their safe space. And I always had that thought, but they were in school at that point, right? Like, they were going to school every day. So when they came home, I was like, yeah, whatever. You don't need to read. Like, you already do all your reading at school. You're good. We'll get some reading done over the weekend. But like, you were at school all day. Home is your safe space. You do what you need to do. But now home is everything at this point. So I've had to create that boundary in myself where, like, okay, you need to now understand personally that you have to switch roles for them, and that you have to give them a little bit more of certain things. But yeah, it's been an interesting ride, and we're still figuring it out. Because some days it's ups and some days it's downs, and sometimes it's really easy to give them what they need, and some days it's really not.
And how are they doing not having their time with their friends? I know for adults, we have Zoom and we can talk to people.
Yeah.
Are they asking to go see friends? And
they did at first, because they didn't really understand what was going on. And then we explained to them what was going on, so that they know now they can't have play dates and they can't go hang out with their friends and that kind of stuff. But it's hard for them. But they're lucky. Our kids are fortunate to have each other. And they're the same age, so it's the same interests, same things. So they always have a friend to play with. They're at each other's throats a lot of the time, just because there's two of them, right? And they're pretty much the exact same person. So it's like, if I cloned myself and the two of us were walking around together all the time, I'd probably get sick of myself too. But no, they're understanding it. We have this Crayola spin art thing where you do little drops of ink and then you press the button and it spins the paper and it creates all these designs on it. So we made a whole bunch of them yesterday, and they're going to mail them out to a couple of their friends.
Oh, how cool.
I was like, hey, we're still here, still thinking about you guys. And we've done a couple FaceTime calls with some friends and stuff, so they've been able to see them, but it's hard. They don't say that they miss school or they've missed their friends, but I know that they do, because I missed my friends. Like, I love connecting with people through Zoom, and we're still so fortunate to have social media and to have to have technology to connect us. But for me, human connection is huge. I love being with people, and I love being around people. And I know my kids are similar. My husband could care less. But just, he's more introverted and I'm a one total extrovert. So like, this for me is hard. But yeah, they understand, they get it. Like I said, we have conversations with them. They're like, what's coronavirus? And I'm like, this is what it is. This is what it is. This is what it does. This is why we need to stay home. And they're like, oh, okay, we get it. Okay, great.
It's a team. You haven't been holding back. I love that.
No, I don't want to hold back, because I don't want them to then go to school too and have no idea what happened and other kids talking about it or whatever it is. I also never want them to walk into any situation feeling, I don't want them to be naive about what's going on. I don't want them to be totally sheltered. I was sheltered growing up, And it led to a lot of bad decisions as an adolescent and as a young adult because I just didn't know any better. So with my kids, I'm like, straight up, this is what everything is. As long as it's age appropriate to show them and tell them, I'm like, this is what it is, so that they can understand it.
I love that. It's really, I just love that you called it a team. Like that just, I don't know, there's
Yeah.
something about that word that keeps sticking in my head. I'm like, team. It's a family team.
It is a family team because we all play our own parts. We all have our own roles. We all have our own boundaries because I know even when I'm getting on their nerves, when I'm pushing too hard on the kids, or if I have a lot of energy most days. So like I can tell when I'm annoying them. They're like, "Mom, calm down." Like I can't. I have so much energy right now. So I end up, doing something else or cleaning or dancing on TikTok or whatever it is. But yeah, no, we're all a team. We're all in this together because if we're not in this together, if we're not all on the same page, then this time at home is going to be miserable. So we have to stick together, and we have to understand that we each, and I think it's because my kids are very sport minded as well, so that they know that it's a team thing. Everyone plays a part. Nobody wins when one person is just doing it on their own. So we all have to do this together.
I love that.
Oh, thank you.
So you said that you mentioned that you worked with your clients. Are you helping your
Sure.
clients with some of this stuff too right now?
I am. So what I usually do is social media and personal branding consulting. Coaching. What I do is I help people. I teach them how to find out what it is that makes them them, what it is that makes them who they are, and I call it their superpower. So we figure out what a person's superpower is, and then we use that to leverage their business and their brand online on social media. But right now, with my clients that I have, it's more of like, let's tackle what's going on emotionally for you right now. How are you feeling? What is this doing to you? How is this lack of business? Because let's be real, people are not spending too much money right now. Everyone's kind of holding on to see what the next 2, 3, 4 weeks is going to be like. So we're tackling more, how are you feeling? What's going on in your business? What can we do now to support your audience, to support your community, to still show up for them during a time like this? And how do we pivot? There's a pivot in business right now. How are you going to pivot and transition into being able to offer things online depending on what your business is? Because I have some clients that are brick and mortar that are, or they're fitness instructors or whatever it is, where people usually need to show up in order for them to get paid. So it's like, so now it's, let's deal with what's going on in your mind. Let's make sure we clear that. Let's make sure you feel good. And then once we've done that, then we go into, okay, what's the strategy behind now your content? And what's the strategy behind what you're putting out there? Is it, because for me, we always, and my clients, we always lead with love and we always lead with compassion. So it's not completely about the sale right now. Even though it's still okay to ask for the sale, it's still okay to make the money right now, which is what I've been telling them. It's still about providing free, valuable content. It's about showing up for your community and showing up for your audience and making social media a little more lighthearted right now and less pandemic-esque and more easy breezy, because let's be real, we know what's going on. We get it. We know there's a pandemic. We know we need to stay home. So now it's like, we understand it. Let's try to move forward into what we've been given. So that's kind of what we've been working on with my clients.
So pivoting and giving yourself some grace during
Yeah.
this time.
Oh my gosh, giving yourself grace is huge right now. It's huge.
I'm just, that's amazing. And where can people find you? Are you
So
accepting new clients, or do you have a community?
I am accepting new clients right now. They can find me at www.farahmiltimore.com is my website, or they can find me on pretty much every social media platform at Farah Miltimore. And I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, did I say I said Facebook? All
think
of them.
so.
Whichever ones are available. And they're all just under my name, so you can find me there. I also just launched a new Facebook group called Social Media and Branding. I always forget the name because I just started it. Social Business and Brand Building. So it is a group where I give people my tips, my tricks, my social media insight, and help them. And it's free, just to help people get through this now, without losing steam that they may have built, or the momentum they may have built, or maybe it's just even bringing back that momentum. So yeah, so that's where people can find me.
That's awesome. So if someone were to only take one thing away from this interview, what would that be? What would you want it to be?
I think giving yourself grace is the one thing people really need to understand right now. If you don't feel like doing something, don't do it. If you have a large to-do list of things you need to do, take it one step at a time. We as parents don't know how to teach our children unless we're teachers as a profession. It's a completely different job, right? So give yourself the grace. If you need to give your kid a little extra screen time, do it. If you need to go on an extra long walk or take an extra long bath or whatever it is, do it. Have the conversations and tell your significant other, your spouse or your kids or whoever, I need this time. So I'm going to take this time. It may not be hard. It may not be, easy for you. You may need me, but I need you to know that I need to do this for me in order so that I can give back to you 100%. I think that's the biggest thing right now to get through this.
Let's create the non-negotiables and do what you need. That's
You
perfect for right now.
Yeah. And wake up a little bit earlier than everyone else so you give yourself some of that time, right? So it's about sacrificing a little bit of sleep so that you can get that stuff done, right? Get that meditation in the morning, get that reading done in the morning, have your cup of coffee in silence in the morning, right? But yeah, just make that time.
That's awesome. That's what I do. My husband was like an 8:30 riser and I'm like a 7:30 riser. So I'm like, I still get my time.
Yeah, there you go. It's perfect.
So, well, thank you so much for being here and sharing this. And I will make sure to get all of your information into the show notes so that people can find you. But I just really appreciate that. And the team, the family team is just, that's amazing. Like, I really hope that will be a lot of people out in the world right now is creating.
I hope so. I hope so.
So thank you again.
Thank you for having me.